Novel, First Prep, David Copperfield, Chapter 13. The content of this chapter. The first point, David's life with Dora. Now we will know how David lived with Dora. Emily left Steerforth and returned back. Mr. Micawber's letter to David. Mr. Peggotty decided to start a new life. The first point, David's life with Dora. David became a lawyer and earned good money, so he married Dora and it was a happy wedding. The second point, Dora wasn't a successful wife, as she knew nothing about housekeeping and even less about cooking. Dora knew nothing about the housekeeping and she didn't know how to cook. You will find two examples to prove these words. Okay, so I want you to read the chapter very well. Dora was a messy wife. The house was always in mess. And when they invited Traddles and his fiancée to dinner, the food was open, and Traddles didn't eat the food, so David felt ashamed. He was ashamed of that. Okay, it proved that Dora wasn't a successful one. David asked his aunt to teach Dora how to cook, but she refused because she wanted them to carry their own burden, to carry their own responsibility. David went to his aunt and he asked her to help Dora, to teach her how to cook, to teach her how to take care of the house, but Aunt Betsy refused. She didn't want to interfere in their life. She wanted them to carry their own responsibility, to teach themselves how to live without the help of anyone. Then Emily left Steerforth and returned back. Rosa Dartle told David that Emily had run away from Steerforth and no one knew where she had gone. We knew very well that Steerforth taught Emily how to talk, how to dress, and to improve herself in her manners, okay? Because he wanted her to be a lady of his dreams. Then he left her, okay? Or their relationship between each other wasn't a good one. So Emily decided to leave everything and to return back to England. She went to her friend Martha, okay? Mr. Peggotty went to Martha before and he asked about Emily. Martha told him that she knew nothing about her. And now Emily went to England and went to Martha. Okay, so Martha went to David with a message from Emily who asked to see him. Martha took a message from Emily and she went to David and took him with her to see Emily. Mr. Peggotty went with David to see her. When she saw her uncle, she here for Emily? When she saw her uncle, she fell into his arms and slipped into unconsciousness. Okay? Mr. Bigotti was very happy for Emily. The third point, Mr. Micawber's letter to David. Mr. Micawber sent a letter to David asking him to meet Mr. Micawber, asking David to meet Mr. Micawber. David went there. Who went with David? Traddles, Tommy Traddles, went with David. He explained, he here for Mr. Micawber. He explained that he was involved with the fraud, deception, and conspiracy. Who did that? Sure, Uriah Heep. You know that Mr. Micawber worked with Uriah Heep, and while working with him, he learned a lot of Uriah, and he knew that he was a cheater who cheated Mr. Wakefield, okay, and he forged his signature on a lot of papers and took his clients' money and turned them to be bankrupt. Mr. Micawber promised to expose the traitor and that he had put a plan. He put a plan to show David how Uriah Heep was a cheater, to prove that. Okay? Mr. Bigotti decided to start a new life. Mr. Bigotti told David that he was taking Emily and Mrs. Gummidge to Australia to start a new life there and to forget everything about the past. They went to Yarmouth before traveling to Australia, where they met Ham. You know that Ham was left broken-hearted after Emily's escape with the Steerforth. Ham told Emily that he still loved her, okay, but it was in vain. Everything in Yarmouth had changed. Everything in Yarmouth had changed. It means the boat wasn't happy like the previous days. Ham left the house and he found another house for himself to live in. The questions of this chapter. The first one, was Dora a successful wife? As I told you, you will find two examples to prove your answer. Sure, she wasn't a successful wife. Okay. I want you to cover these points while answering this question. The first point, how did they get married? The second point, how were her housekeeping skills? The third point, was she able to control the household and why? You will find all the details in the chapter. I want you to give me two examples. The second question is, my dream has come true. I thank God for giving me back my child. While answering a comment question, as I told you before, I want you to cover these points. The first one, who said it? To whom? When? And where? I want you to write all these points in the first paragraph. Then, the second paragraph, how was Emily found? Who helped them to find her? The third paragraph, what was Mr. Pigotty's reaction when he found her? And what did the last one, what did they decide to do later? Thank you.